Okay, so good morning, everybody. I recognize a couple of you. This is a request I prepared to take some agribusiness students to two well-known, prestigious conferences in my discipline, agribusiness. This conference is the Southern Agricultural Economics Association, which will take place for the fiscal year that we're considering. It will be in Jacksonville, Florida, and the Agricultural and Applied Economics Association, which will meet in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to maximize the student accommodations with the budget. For example, I'm trying to put 4 students per room. I got 2 rooms, one for female, one for males, and myself also included because I gotta take the students to the conference. So when they go to these conferences at the Southern, the students, they get to participate in 3 different activities, okay? They got a contest called Quiz Bowl Contest in which they participate. They also get to see oral presentations. There'll be people like professors, grad students doing oral presentations which they get to see. And there will also be poster presentations. So their primary participation is in the Quiz Bowl. And so at the Quiz Bowl, they will be mixing teams, teams from universities, from students from universities from all over the United States, and they get to compete to answer questions about the discipline, you know, like class questions and things like that. So basically, this is an opportunity for the students to engage in activities outside their discipline, network, get to know other students, and also learn about graduate programs from other universities, and it's just pretty much about networking and learning and contesting, doing all that outside the classroom. The total request, as you can see, came out to about $21,000. Each conference is roughly $10,000, 111, 110. If you ask me about what are the major costs are primarily the hotel, followed by plane tickets, it's too far to drive, and then food. Usually we do a lot of saving in food, but for budgeting purposes, I use the per team rates, and that's why it came out a little high, the food. Other than that, I mean, all the other costs are minor, so that's the main reason for the budget. And I passed out a loose sheet that I didn't include in the original, but here are some quotes. I would like you to take a look at some of the quotes from the students, past students that have taken. I received funding from the student services fees, not last fiscal year, but the year before last fiscal year. And so we went to a couple of conferences, just as I'm requesting now. And here are some of the quotes. I thought the experience was well worth my time. The trip has been a great experience. The Quiz Bowl was a great way to network with other universities as well as help grasp my knowledge of economics in comparison with other universities. If we can go to the next one. Not only did I have a great time competing in the Quiz Bowl, I met and networked with many young agricultural professionals from all over the country who were also participating. It was a great experience as well as an amazing networking opportunity. National conferences like these are what help us to remember that agriculture is wider than just our university or even just our state. This was the first time I attended a collegiate conference of any sort. Any expectations I had for the trip were immensely understated. You know, a couple of other ones at the bottom. I was able to speak with several grad recruits from other colleges and universities. In doing so, I felt more confident in my opportunities to attend graduate school. So that's one of the outcomes too. The students, I have observed that the students, by attending to this conference, they develop an interest in graduate studies. So we would like to. I usually take the most talented students. Of course, they're going to be competing. And those are the students the university also wants to retain for our graduate program. So they not only develop an interest in going into graduate school, but also in staying with us. And so it's also a way to retain students. And you can see some of the other quotes at the back. The one in the middle, never had I ever seen such hospitality from an association. So overall, the students have a good time.
Let's go to Q&A now.
No problem. Yes, ma'am.
How you select the students that get to go?
So basically, because it's a competitive process, I try to go by highest GPA. So I can pull a report which will pull by order of GPA. And then I try to contact the students on a personal basis to tell them, and believe me, so there's like 60 students in the major, in the agribusiness major. I probably contact about 10, 15 of them, believe it or not, but a lot of our students at Texas A&M Commerce don't like travel. A lot of them, you have to push them and be on top of them and encourage them, and it's very tedious to get them to participate, to get to travel. So I get a lot of students who would say, I thank you very much for the opportunity, but they don't want to go. So I basically end up taking the ones that are more outgoing, and I hope that they have a good GPA because they are representing the university, and so that's the other thing I look at is they have to be agribusiness major because this is an agribusiness contest. I have taken though students with a minor in agribusiness, and the other thing I look at is they have to be junior or senior because freshmen don't have a lot of the agribusiness courses, so they're not a good candidate. But because of the high rejection, because of the high, I would say, I wouldn't use the word rejection, because of the high resistance or all the pushing you have to do to convince the students to go to the conference, I have taken also freshmen who are, who I think are very good, and they are good. We got some very good students.
I was going to say, even though you seem to have an uphill battle to get the kids to participate, can you speak on the level of success at the national level your ag business students have had?
Thank you very much for that question. So yes, so we have gone a couple of times, and I'll take the question. So we have won, believe it or not. So we get to compete here with a lot of land-grant universities. They got a lot of money, and they don't have to worry about money. But believe it or not, we have won first place and second place, and we have only gone. I kind of try to get funds from everywhere, and I have gone to four times to the salary. So over the last 4 years, and over the last 4 years, we have won. One of our students won first place, and then the year before, we just won this year, but the year before last year, our student won second place. So that gives us a lot of recognition for the university, because if you think about, you're competing with universities, Auburn, Texas A&M, Cornell. You're competing with the top universities. So when the students come back, they feel, they feel good about it because they were able to be as good as all those other students and show that they also are good. So what I tell my students is, we may be a small university compared to the land grants, of course, but we do teach, your education that you receive is good quality, and see it yourself. Yes, your question.
So I just have a couple of questions, and it's mostly on the basis of why you chose these particular things to help fund this event.
Okay.
So the first one is incidentals. It includes internet. There are free internet places such as McDonald's or even hotels that provide that. So is that something that you think can cut costs?
Yeah. One of the things I mentioned in my application. If you go back to the form that I fill out, one of the things I mentioned is, second page, second paragraph at the top of page 2, last line. Once again, any support Campus Life and Development can provide will be greatly appreciated. When you prepare a budget, you include, well, these are real quotes from the internet, from what the expenses are. So you want to leave a margin for incidentals, but of course, I understand you guys have limited funds, so any support that you can provide will be appreciated. But for budgeting purposes, you ask for the moon, and then you live with what you get. So basically, but incidentals are, so that phrase about incidentals and not limited to internet, this and that, that's basically before Concord, we had to do these pre-travel request authorizations, and I took that phrase from an old form that kind of tell what incidentals are supposed to be for. So, I had some other type of incidentals, you know. These are undergraduate students, some of them are responsible, some of them get in trouble. I had a case where a student spilled some food in the hotel room and they charged me $200. Incidentals. I see a couple of hands. Who wants to go?
Oh,
That's
I'm
you or
taking this one. So as far as the membership, can the students not pay their own membership for the attendance?
They can if we ask them to. So basically, the way you go about it is, you know, if you have the money to pay, if you guys approve, give me the money to pay for the membership, well, we pay it. If you guys don't approve, then I'll tell them we don't have the money to pay for the membership, you will be in charge. And that's the other thing I asked them, the food also. Same thing with the food, you know. If I don't receive enough money to pay for all the expenses, I'll tell the students, you know, you have to cover your own food.
What would that do to your participation?
Well, less likely, you know, that, believe it or not, you know, the School of Agriculture, we have students with a lot of resources, but we also have a lot of students that have very few resources. I mean, and you know, those who teach freshman introductory courses, and you get to ask them the question like, if you're going to an interview, where would you go to get dressed? And the answer that our students say, Salvation Army, to find clothes for getting dressed. So that kind of tells you what kind of students we're talking about. So basically, yeah, some students, I'm afraid, that may be reluctant to, you know, talking about encouraging them to go. If you don't pay for food, basically, it would be an obstacle, I mean, for them. So,
Given the academic nature of these conferences, what support do you receive from the School of Ag? And then additionally, have you applied for any conference grants?
yes. So I do try to, because funds are limited, and I'm an economist, I try to maximize resources given limited funds. So basically, I'm constantly looking for funds. So basically, the School of Agriculture gives us only $500 per fiscal year to go to conference. This is a means for me to take a student and help me also with my expenses. Provost office just gave me $300. You know, yeah, but then it's adding up, right? It's adding up. So basically, then there's some travel grants that you apply to these type of organizations as well, and they'll give you money. So basically, I try to apply everywhere, and at the end of the day, it adds up, and therefore, you know, you gave me a bit, somebody else gave me a bit, so therefore that allows the university to have more representation across several conferences.
Do you have a dollar amount in terms of travel grants that you've received in years past?
Yes, so I have received, there is a travel grant that I received that is in terms of per student, so they give you $100 per student that you get to take, so it fluctuates. I try to take eight students because of the convenience of putting 4 males in one room for me. And so what I have received is between 300 and 800. It fluctuates depending on, you know, sometimes you only get to take 3 students, sometimes you get to take 6, 5, sometimes 8. Yes, sir.
So, in concerns to the hotel, would it be possible to stay at a hostel or less expensive? Have you considered that?
Definitely, it is possible, but the experience will be different because this is the conference hotel. So you remember this, going back to what I said earlier, all the universities, the big universities go to these conferences and they stay at the conference hotel. So they are mixed with other undergraduate students from other universities, they get to know them. But imagine some students say, okay, I'm going to go back to my room, you're in the conference room, no big deal, back up in 5 minutes. My student will have to say, okay, I got to run to my hotel 5 miles, or, you know, 5 blocks from here.
And that's added cost, taxis and renting, that's added cost.
Yeah, so it is possible, but I think it would be, you would not save much. I mean, you would save probably $30 per night, per night, and then, because the rate the conference get is also negotiated, it's a special rate. And so I think the burden of them not being at the hotel and going from one place to, you know, it will lose the interactivity with networking with the other students. There's I don't want to get into the details, but you know how the students are. They make friends, and then after the day is over, they want to be close to their friends, going to the after.
Too much
you know,
information. We're out of time. Out of time.
Yes, okay. Out of questions, too?
Out of time, yes, sir.
If you take graduate students, the graduate students have somebody.
I put that
Thank you.
in there, grad students, yeah.
No,